lot about the tools in the industry at this point and the opportunity. At this point, I'd like to, be able to see some examples of what we could potentially do. So I'd like to invite Sandeep, Alur from Microsoft, and Rishabh, Gaur, also from Microsoft. Sandeep is a director at Microsoft Technology Center here in India. He drives Microsoft's AI country plan. And interestingly, he's also focused on closing the skills gap, to enhance employability of folks in the ecosystem. I've worked with him in the past. He's been around in the industry. Avid runner, if I may disclose some personal details. Avid learner, I must say that has never stopped learning, at least of what I know of him. So welcome, Sandeep. And Rishabh works as an architect in the Microsoft Technology Center. Again, he's pushing intelligent cloud, intelligent edge, which is so critical as we build these enterprise applications, and has some pretty interesting, cross-domain skills across various Microsoft platforms. All right, so Sandeep and Rishabh, you guys are on. Let's make sure we can hear you.
Hi, Narendra. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect.
Good. So both. All right. So, Sandeep, you heard the conversation so far, right? Clearly an opportunity for people. As I was talking to Dave, I was thinking about my second daughter. She is doing a Bachelor of Science degree and focused on economics and math and stats. She's got some Python, background, and she's pretty okay with programming, but not her best moments when she has to write deep code. Are we solving some of her problems, you think?
I would say yes, Narendra. It's an interesting perspective brought in. We heard the persona, which is citizen developer, for the last 25 minutes, which is a great shift in the industry. But I'm sure your daughter is an aspiring data scientist, or she's moving that direction. There's another persona which is also fast emerging, which complements citizen developer as citizen data scientist, right? Imagine we're talking about technology being democratized and how well we can complement the needs of data scientists. Can a business user, without statistics or probability knowledge, can they build models, right? I mean, that's the magic we're talking about. We'll definitely get there, Narendra. That's something which I would love to share today. But before that, in fact, one of the thought process in the previous session with Dave was in terms of some of the apps in the current times of crisis, right? So I can openly say that in the pandemic times, when businesses, I would say hospitals, had to, overnight set up COVID wards, as a platform provider, we actually built, using low code, no code, a crisis management application, right? And distributed across the globe, right? Dominantly, hospitals could actually have applications up and running in less than 24 hours time. That's the power of no code.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So that I just wanted to share that, because we're talking no code, low code, but impact is pretty much felt in the current times, dominantly the power of no code, low code.
Great. And I think it comes back to the turnaround time discussion I had with Suresh, right? I mean, very few enterprise business leaders have patience for 6-month, 12-month long projects. They want to see stuff functioning very quickly. But anyway, so you guys are going to show us stuff, right? Nothing like a fantastic demo, right? I think I can partly say I'm a bit of a geek, not a full geek, but I know you guys are complete geeks. So I'll turn it over to you, Rishabh. You're going to show us things. You're going to build things for us, live.
Yeah. No, absolutely. In fact, I'll get Rishabh in. In fact, Narendra, TechCent, it's all about show and tell. So we're switching gears right now. And so Rishabh, quickly, the first question to you. I know, you talk to customers globally, and you pretty much are in the zone where you evangelize no code, low code. You're seeing use cases being dominantly put on your table saying, hey, can we use no code, low code and solve this problem? I think before we get to the demo, just help us understand the platform building blocks. What actually comprises, what makes a no code, low code platform so compelling and so favorable to, I would say, citizen developers.
Absolutely, Sandeep. Let me start with sharing my screen. Just give me 1 second. And let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes, please go ahead.
Perfect. So Sandeep, as you know, any technology that we see today, it has 3 junctions, which is things, insights, and actions. And this eventually leads to a digital feedback loop. Now, so what we are seeing, so Microsoft has a plethora of services called Power Platform, which is our low-code, no-code platform. Now, what we are seeing in Power Platform is it consists of 4 different products. But interestingly, what we are seeing is when I said things, insights, and actions, what's happening is every single thing that is out there in any organization, it's generating vast amounts of data. Now, that data needs to be converted into insights. You need to garner some insights out of that data so that you can go ahead and turn those insights into actionables. So basically, anything that you are seeing today is going through this particular loop of data, getting analyzed, turning those insights into actions, and those actions are eventually in turn generating more data. So this in turn creates a digital feedback loop. Now, what we are seeing in Power Platform is today organizations have a lot of in siloed systems which are available today. So the philosophy is let's ask them to not disrupt what they are already doing. So basically, with the power of powerful connectors that we have in Power Platform, you can go ahead and connect to those data sources. Then for all the insights you want to garner out of that data sets, that's where you use Power BI. Once you have that insights, you need to turn those insights into actionables. So a simple scenario that I generally say to our customers is, okay, you have some data out about your employees and you realize that, okay, my employee today is spending around, let's say, 30 minutes every single day going through each and every email, and he's downloading some attachments. So what you can do is you can go ahead and automate those tasks. That's where we have Power Automate. So these are the 4 products that we have.
Perfect. I think, Rishabh, it's best that you show, I would say, the art of possible behind the scenes in terms of how do we pretty much get to building a very powerful, compelling app with no code. So let's do that.
Yeah, so the demo that I have, it's a very simplistic scenario. That's something that I think every industry faces today is focused around the process of KYC or know your customer. So in any scenario, basically, there are 2 different personas here. One is a person who wants to get their KYC done. And the second persona that I have is a back office agent who traditionally would actually manually go ahead, check their data, check their documents, and then go ahead and manually do that process. So how can we use a low-code platform or a compilation of low-code technologies to solve that scenario? That's what I'll show you. So in this case, as I said, the person who wants to get their KYC done, they start their journey by talking to an intelligent chatbot. That's where they'll ask that, okay, I need to get my KYC done. And yeah, okay, and the bot will say, okay, the process is minimal. He says that, okay, let's go ahead and start my KYC process. That's where the bot will ask if the data of that person is already available in the backend database. So he'll get a notification that, yes, okay, give me your email ID. He gives his email ID. And then he's asked to upload his Aadhaar card in this case. So his identification card. Now, this is where traditionally a back office agent would actually go to a platform like this. He will log in, then he would manually enter details into this form. When he clicks on submit record, a new record will be entered into the backend database. Now, what happens is, now when I wanted to automate this entire process, the challenge that I faced was the fact that if you look at this, in any Aadhaar card out there, there is no key value pair. It's directly your name written. There is no name and the name is written. So how do I train a model to actually go ahead and learn this so that it understands where exactly this value will go in which of the column of my backend database? So that's where I use technology. That's where I use Power Automate, which is one of the products in Power Platform. And I run a model on top of this. So if I run this, if I go to my Selenium IDE, now for the first iteration, it would actually check every single thing that I'm doing onto that form. Where exactly am I clicking? What exactly am I typing? And then it runs an iteration on top of that. So let me show that to you. Now, after it has run that iteration, what happens is, as you will see, it will automatically start writing those documents. And in this way, a person who was doing around 10, 20, 30, or even let's say 100 records in a day, I mean, think about the amount of work he can do every single day. In fact, what he can do, so what the back office agent can do, so if he comes to office on a Monday morning, he can interact with another intelligent chatbot that is his own personal assistant. He can ask a question that, yes, okay, the bot will proactively tell him that, okay, these are the number of customers that are in the onboarding queue. Can you go ahead and do you want me to go ahead and do this process for you? He'll say that yes, go ahead and process as many records. And in that way, this entire piece can be taken care of. So that's a very simple demo based around citizen developer. But let me show you what exactly are the technologies that are powering this demo. So basically, step one is to actually do an image classification where you try to understand, okay, is that a valid Aadhaar card or not? Once that's done, then an OCR will just extract every single piece from that Aadhaar card. And then what will happen is basically we will do an entity recognition here, entity extraction here, and then we will put that data into the correct folder into the backend database. So Sandeep, what I addressed so far is all around the first persona of citizen developer. But what you see on my screen right now, what's really powering my demo are all these sophisticated machine learning AI models. So which brings me to the second persona, as you mentioned, which is how exactly can we go ahead and enable a citizen data scientist to build these models?
Perfect. Thanks, Rishabh. In fact, Narendra, I want to bring it to your attention. Say, all that Rishabh showed so far, I mean, that's any developer can relate to it. There was automation in the backend, pretty much robotic process automation. There was AI. There was a UI. There's also a chatbot. So you may be wondering, man, looks like some developer has gone and built code. Absolutely no. Everything Rishabh showed so far, he has not written even a single line of code.
Wow. Okay. I was wondering about that, which is who's going to stitch this together and how will this work and who's written all that code to bring up the windows and all of that stuff.
Yeah. See, again, for all the viewers today, right? So industry is seeing a shift also from no-code platform, which is targeted business users, to code first for developers. See, imagine, can we make life of a developer super productive? It's a great platform already. Even Suresh, for example, the platform he spoke about, can you open a small window where developers can also go and tweak a bit? It's almost like WordPress. I use WordPress to build websites with no code, but can you also give me hand on the code so that I can tweak a bit at my will? I think that's where industry is also heading. That means we're bringing developer also to use no code, low code platform and probably stitch that, use the right terms. Who's going to stitch it? Probably developer will help stitch for the business user.
Sure. And which is where the low code aspect comes in, not necessarily the no code, which is you may have a little bit of coding requirement, but bulk of the work is done by the tools.
Absolutely. So what I'll do now is a shift guess. Again, this probably should enthuse you, Narendra, as well as you should pass it on to your daughter in terms of how cool technology is becoming to support aspiring certain data scientists. Let me share my screen and let me know.
I've scribbled down the term citizen data scientist. I had not heard of that before. So
absolutely. So you can see my slide deck?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So here is, let's start this. Let's talk about a basic regression problem, right? All we're trying to do here is how much is this car worth? But before that, let me just, for a larger audience, if you look at a model development life cycle, right? Any machine learning model, it goes through these three, I would say, dominant steps. First of all, you ingest data. You do something called feature engineering, identifying what features should we use for the problem on hand. That's number one. Number two, of course, which is, again, a very time-consuming activity, is hyperparameter optimization, right? I mean, just to simplify it, these are parameters you set for the model before training begins, right? And of course, finally, you deploy it. So the dominant activities here is feature engineering and hyperparameter optimization. So I'm trying to bring in the complexity in terms of, it's not easy to build a model. There's a lot of complexity, but can we make it simple for developers? Can we make it simple for, I would say, business users to build a model following the life cycle where dominant capabilities are taken care of by the platform, and hence you only worry about your data. Nothing else you need to know. As long as it's a regression problem, you should be good, right? So let's do that. I'll just take you through a short visualization, then I'll show a short demo as well. Intent here is how much is this car worth? All of us understand it's a regression problem. Now, if you look at a typical approach, yes, I have features for a specific car, which is what is the mileage, condition, car brand, blah, blah, blah. And we also know, since it's a regression problem, I have multiple algorithms under the umbrella of regression and eventually parameters, right? How do we build a model? Yes, I choose a few features, right, which I feel are dominant influence influencer on outcome of the model. In this case, I've chosen 3, and I choose gradient boosted algorithm, and I tweak these parameters, which is what I need to do as I run the machine learning model. It gives me 30% accuracy. Now, this is an iterative approach. ML is all about iterations. Now, I do this relentlessly time and again. I keep changing features, algorithms, and parameters, and I finally will get a model which probably gives me a higher accuracy and precision. So I'm happy, right? Look what happened. This is an iterative approach. It probably takes days, weeks, and months to get to sort of finite accuracy, and it's a laborious, time-consuming activity. Can automation happen here? Answer is yes. This is where automated machine learning steps in with the absolute no code. All that one is to understand is, yes, here is my data and its regression problem, and I need to predict a price of an automobile. Now, what happens here? The entire activity of feature engineering and hyperparameter optimization is taken care by the tool, and eventually it gives you a most optimized model, right? You got to see it to believe it. Let me just take you through my portal right here. And by the way, this is machine learning portal. Forget the complexity of what you see here, but let me just show you a model which I've run some time back. It's a regression model. I'll show you the output and then tell you how easy it is to build something like this, right? I've already run this particular tool, by the way. And if you go to the models here, this is the magic, right? I don't need to understand all the algorithms under regression. There are tons of algorithms in regression. So what this tool has done is it has gone through and given me accuracy against each of the algorithms. You are the best user. You're the best. You're in the best, I think, position to choose which model you believe, because you might be experienced in, let's say, random forest. You might actually go inside random forest and you can download that model. As simple as that, right? So all I'm telling you is, for somebody who is who may not know the intricacies of building a model, as long as you know it's a regression problem or a classification or forecasting, that's all you need to know. No need of any Python code or R code. Let me show you one last example here. The same model, if I have to build from scratch, I say I want to build a new automation model. I already uploaded my data, which is automobile price data, right? I have the data of all the model, make, mileage, blah, blah, blah. I choose next. I know I have to do an experiment, is all formalities. You can ignore this. But look at the target column. I have to actually predict the price. I choose price. And I also need to choose a compute. Where should it run? You know, this is all part of the model development life cycle, but there's no code here. I've just spun off a virtual machine and I've given 90% can actually create and give it to a business user, right? I choose next. It's a regression problem. You can do classification, regression, time series forecasting, but it's a regression problem, right? I choose that and click finish. That's about it. When I have done finish, that's what you saw, what I showed earlier, right? The price prediction, what I showed here, is an outcome of 3 clicks I've done so far to arrive at probably the most optimized model is the ensemble model here. If I go inside, I can actually see the metric and I can decide for myself in terms of, hey, should I take this to production based on the data that I've got it, right? So that's pretty much what I wanted to show, Narendra. This is the
Thank you.
This is the power of AI being democratized. Zero code, I'm able to build more sophisticated models.
Thanks, Sandeep. So the clock on your screen is misleading. You have about 3-4 minutes left in this session. A couple of things I took away. We had the first half of the discussion with Suresh and Dave, where we talked a lot about building workflows and BPMs and drags and drops and things.
Yeah.
Here, clearly, we're talking about harnessing the power of AI and ML, but not necessarily having to have the deep knowledge of how to build the models or how to, create the programming around models. But with a bit of business knowledge, with a bit of, math and statistical knowledge, you're actually able to extract far more business value out of, data sets. And the example you gave was car data sets. I'm presuming this could be health data sets, population data sets, shopping behavior, driving behavior, education behavior, a variety of data sets, large problems which exist within the country, and specifically, sales problems or production problems within the company. So, NASSCOM a few months ago had released a report that AI and ML potentially is a several $100 billion opportunity for the Indian industry. What you guys just saw is an example of how people are going to be able to, it's not just about building simple workflows, it's going a little deeper and extracting significant value out of enterprise data sets or population data sets, right? That's what you saw, Sandeep and Rishabh demonstrate to us. So this is awesome. I'm assuming there's a lot more information, literature, tutorials available online for individual developers, citizen developers to go off and play with it, right? Right, Sandeep? How do they find out more?
Oh, all that. First of all, Power Platform. So all the Rishabh showed comes under the umbrella of Power Platform. With automation, workflow, API integration, UI, everything is there. Second, of course, automated machine learning. It comes on Azure Machine Learning. So if you just look up automated ML Azure, you'll just get access to that. So I think it's fairly, I would say, popular services as of date. And so two persona: citizen developer, citizen data scientist. So
Awesome,
that's what we see.
Awesome. I strongly believe the multi-$100 billion AI services opportunity coming out of the country will have strong elements of what you guys showed, and capabilities will be bring in. But I think the key takeaway is that you do not have to be an ML programmer or an AI scientist to be able to extract that value. But you'll still need to have a strong amount of business domain knowledge, and then of course be able to go off and use these tools. So
absolutely.
Thank you, Rishabh. Thank you, Sandeep. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And on the chat window, if you can, do post URLs and links for if people want to follow up and get more stuff. So
absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Narendra. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Sandeep and Rishabh.